The history of slavery in the United States is a story of brutal oppression, dehumanization, and exploitation. One of the most harrowing aspects of this history is the abuse of black female slaves by white men, a topic that has often been overlooked or understated in historical narratives. The systematic sexual exploitation and violence faced by black women during slavery left deep scars on their lives and the fabric of American society. Black female slaves were frequently subjected to sexual exploitation and rape by their white masters, overseers, and other white men. This abuse was a stark display of the power imbalance inherent in the institution of slavery. White men wielded absolute authority over the bodies and lives of black women, who had no legal recourse or means of protection. The rape of black female slaves was not only a violation of their bodies, but also a means of reinforcing the racial and gender hierarchies that sustained the institution of slavery. Black women were often forced into pregnancy to increase the slave population, thereby providing a steady supply of laborers. This practice, known as breeding, was another form of exploitation that denied black women autonomy over their reproductive rights. Enslaved women were sometimes paired with specific male slaves to produce more children, who were born into slavery and became the property of the slave owner. The trauma of forced breeding was compounded by the emotional pain of having their children taken away, sold, or abused. The abuse of black female slaves extended beyond physical violence. They endured relentless psychological and emotional abuse designed to break their spirit and enforce compliance. White men used threats, intimidation, and manipulation to control black women, exploiting their vulnerability and lack of power. The constant fear of violence and the knowledge that they could not protect themselves or their children from abuse inflicted deep psychological scars. Despite the overwhelming abuse, black female slaves displayed remarkable resilience and resistance. They found ways to assert their humanity and protect themselves and their children as best they could. Some women used subtle forms of resistance, such as feigning illness or working slowly, while others took more direct actions, including running away or fighting back against their abusers. These acts of resistance were courageous defiance in the face of an oppressive system. The abuse of black female slaves by white men has had a lasting impact on American society. It has contributed to the perpetuation of racial and gender inequalities and has left a legacy of trauma that continues to affect descendants of enslaved people. The exploitation and dehumanization of black women during slavery have shaped attitudes towards race and gender, influencing social dynamics and power structures long after the abolition of slavery.